What is going on? And welcome to another four-wheel drive talk episode. Had to look that up. 44. It's been one of those weeks. It's been a fantastic week. I'm thrilled to say the weather is much cooler here, as I think it is. I've spoken to a few people across the U.S., and so everybody's seen a bit of a cool down here during this week, which is nice because it finally feels a little bit more about fall, which I'm ready for that. But anyways, we have some pretty exciting news here this week. Starting things off with Jeep is going head first in the electric vehicle market with several new electric vehicles or models set to debut in North American market. Now we're going to discuss which ones these are in a moment. Also in today's episode is a look at a new Rivian feature called Camp Mode, which can make your overlanding adventures a little bit more comfortable, which of course is a big bonus. Now we'll also chat about the new VW Bug van, or I keep calling it a bug. It's a Buzz van as well. This is a futuristic all-electric version of the classic van that many of us grew up around. But the big question is, will it be as beloved as the original? Well, only time will tell with that. But first, friends, before we dive into all the juicy headlines for this week, look, every single week, as you know, we put these videos together to help you stay informed as far as what is happening in the industry in small little bite-sized little news nuggets. Now, of course, if we are successful with this video and you find some value or we entertain you for a little bit there, hitting that like button down below not only sends a nice signal to us that you appreciated the video, but it also tells YouTube's algorithm that, well, you digged it. And anyways, it helps out the channel. But anyways, that said, thank you very much in advance. Glad to see you here today. Now let's shift gears and get into this week's headlines. Now, just the other day, Jeep unveiled its future plans, and electric vehicles is a big part of it. Now, in Europe, Jeep will exclusively be electric by 2023. Now, in the US, half of the new models will be fully electric, while the other half are going to be hybrid. Now, as a stepping stone to achieve these 2023 goals, Jeep will produce 3 new electric vehicles here in North America in just the next handful of years, 3 years rather. Now, one of the models is a Jeep Recon, which pretty much looks like a Wrangler. Now the Recon will be fully electric with locking axles, skid plates, and big off-road tires. Now apart from that, the details are, they're pretty scarce right now, other than the fact that it goes into production in 2023. So as I understand, starting next year, you're going to be able to reserve one of these things. So if this is your thing, then, well, you want to be ready for that. Now, Jeep also unveiled 2 new Wagoneer models. You have the Wagoneer S and the Grand Wagoneer 4xe PHEV. Yeah, that is a mouthful. I almost said, whew, I think that's how it sounds. Now, the Wagoneer S will have 600 horsepower electric engine, and Jeep hopes with a 400-mile range. Now, we'll also have all-wheel drive and do 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, which is pretty awesome for a vehicle of this size. Now, as for the Grand Wagoneer 4xe PHEV, it's going to be a plug-in hybrid in range upwards of 500 miles, according to Jeep. But the Wagoneer models will be produced in the beginning of 2024. So really, we're at the end of 2023 right now. We're at the end of 2022, starting 2023. So 2024 really isn't that terribly far. Now here's something that you just have to admire about electric vehicles and how these things, so like when you look at Teslas, or in this case Rivian here, being that they are just rolling computers, some software engineers sitting in wherever they are is able to make a update and have significant changes, positive impacts on your vehicle. And here's a good example of this. If you have a Rivian R1S or a R1T, or you simply wish that you had one, get ready for yet another feature that will make these vehicles even much more enjoyable. Now, the founder of Rivian, RJ Scaring, and I always think I'm saying his name wrong. Anyways, he tweeted about some new features recently and revealed some of its best options. So for example, Camp Mode allows you to put your vehicle into a deep sleep, thereby reducing your power draw and extending the battery charge that you have. Now you can also turn off the interior lights and display for a nice dark cabin for sleeping. Now all of this is really good. When you think about People adopting electric or EV for overlanding, one of the big concerns here is keeping hold of as much of that power as you can. So if you have the ability to shut off some of these things and preserve some of that very valuable power, yeah, that's a plus. And I think that will only help towards more people adopting EVs for overlanding and off-roading. Now, getting back on topic and kind of talking about the sleeping side of things here, you don't have to worry about finding a level spot to lay your head on, because camp mode, this is actually pretty cool what this does here. It also includes an auto leveling feature. So whether you're sleeping in your vehicle or up on top in a rooftop tent, you won't have to worry about sliding off your sleeping pad at night.
The coolest feature is an auto leveling feature where we can, if you're sitting in the vehicle or camping in the vehicle or sleeping in the back and it's sitting crooked because you're on a hill, the suspension auto levels. And I'm going to do that right now. So ready to level, and here we go. And it's hard to see in a video, but the vehicle is becoming level as we sit on this. And
now I have to say, out of all the features with the camp mode, the auto leveling feature here is one of the coolest. Because think about it, when you go to camp, what's one of the first things that you're doing? If you have a trailer behind you, you're shimming this thing around, putting blocks or rocks or something underneath the tires to get that thing level. So therefore your head is not going down like this and all your blood draining to your head, or you're leaning off to the left or right. So this is pretty darn cool. Again, when you think about it, it's a computer doing this automatically. That is cool. So it allows you to get to location and get enjoying camping versus tooling around and trying to get your sleeping arrangements all level. But anyways, camp mode also enables floodlights in the side mirrors to come on and illuminate the campsite as well. Again, another nice feature. If you have to wake up in the middle of the night to use the restroom, boom, you hear something moving outside in the middle of the night, turn on the lights. That's really awesome. Now, there's also a camp kitchen and rooftop tents available, which is not really, new news. We knew that already. So camp mode only makes the R1S and the R1T that much better for camping and overlanding. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think about campers, one of the first things that comes to mind is the old school VW vans with remember that with the pop-up tent and the little kitchenette things inside? Man, when I was growing up, I want to say I was 9, 10 years old, around there. Our neighbor had one of these things out in the middle of the field, and it didn't have a motor, but inside of it, the kitchenette was all nice, and the interior was pretty nice, as I remember. I remember as kids, we would go climbing in this thing, and we would treat it as a fort. It was such a badass little thing. Now, VW is hoping that a lot of us are going to want a new, refreshed experience like that, because the VW ID Buzz van is coming to fill those needs. Now, the company introduced the ID Buzz in the European market, and while the van that we get here in the US won't exactly be the same, it is going to be close. Now, the European version of the van has an electric motor in the rear that is powered by an 82 kilowatt hour lithium-ion battery pack. Now, the combination produces 204 horsepower and 229 pounds of torque. Now, the towing capacity, it isn't that much. It's only 2,200 pounds. So if you need a van that can tow a trailer or burn rubber on the track, well, out of the box at least, this thing's not going to be it. But hey, when you think about it, the original VW buses weren't really track stars either, so it really makes a lot of sense that the new bus is more of a leisurely overlanding vehicle rather than a fire-breathing electric monster. But I don't know, perhaps the best part of the ID Buzz is that it retains retro styling of its predecessor while also looking futuristic and modern. It's definitely something that, look, in California, right now you can drive over on the coast and you're going to see a lot of the classic buses, and they have surfboards on the top. So I'm sure we're going to see a lot of these things on the Pacific Coast Highway, pretty certain. And it is funny because a few months ago, as I was coming home in the right-hand lane, getting in the 5 freeway south, I saw either one of these VWs, one of these buses, wrapped up in black, or it could have been, what's that other company? Canoe. And it had this thing on the top there, so maybe it's working on some sort of, sonar, not the sonars, but the sensors for driving around, the autos driving. I don't know what it was, but, if you know, I'm going to put the pictures on the screen here. If you happen to know what this thing is this a VW or is this one of those Canoe things? leave a comment below. All right, friends, well, this is the time where normally I would be jibber-jabbering a little bit about our giveaway and the prizes and all that good stuff, but that has ended. So actually next week we're going to be announcing the winners, and we're also going to be notifying you of the new prizes that we're going to be giving away starting, well, actually next week. But rather than just jumping off or turning off the cameras, I will instead ask you to do all that YouTube stuff. So please consider hitting the subscribe button, hit that like button, and so you don't miss any of the videos like the one that you just watched here, hit that bell so YouTube does its whole notification thing. But friends, that is it. It is Friday, and I'm going to turn off the cameras, get out of my studio. So hey, you get out there, stay healthy, and take. Now, it's not take your adventure, it's going to be find your adventure.